Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Show Me Mo School Facilities podcast, hosted by me, Joshua Peach, and MSPMA, the Missouri School Plant Managers Association. And I am closing out 2 amazing days in Lee Summit, Missouri. And we've had an event here, an MSPMA event that started yesterday, where I got to moderate a half-day professional development. And we had a full day core certification class, and I took over this room in the Missouri Innovation Center at Lee Summit Public Schools, which is an absolutely just gorgeous space. If you're ever here, come on over and check it out. Even if you don't come in, it has got some absolutely gorgeous curb appeal. And I am closing out. I've done a marathon 5 podcast episodes, and I am closing out last but far from least, Director of Facilities for Lee Summit, Mr. Kyle Gorrell. And I got to tell you, I met Kyle. I probably have met you in passing a couple of times, but I got to meet you in January at the first event that we did like this. And then I had the honor to moderate your indoor air quality session that you did yesterday. I got to have a call or two with you and a few emails. And I tell you, you're a bright dude. I mean, you are just the stuff that you hit me with just naturally. It was like I threw out something about, well, when did indoor air quality matter? You're like 1973, ASHRAE 62A standard. I probably got those numbers wrong, or I might be close.
You're close enough.
Close enough. I'm close enough. But he threw it out there, and I got close enough where I didn't know anything to that standards or any of that stuff before I talked to you. So I've had just an absolute honor and a joy to learn from you and get to talk to you and spend some time with you. And I appreciate you coming on the podcast to close out my time here and to be on the 14th episode. So welcome.
Thanks, Josh. It has been a pleasure spending time with you and meeting you too. You know, just your passion, your ability to facilitate and create an engaging environment for people in these events. It's been a real value added to our organization, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, well, we want to get away from death by PowerPoint, right? We want to,
That's right.
we want to get
That's
into, and I mean, listen, somebody said this to me last night at dinner. They said, nobody could ever think that talking about indoor air quality, contaminants and ventilation, all this stuff could be sexy. But Kyle Gorrell figured it out yesterday, right? Yeah, he did. They did. They said you did. You put all these pieces together with Luke and Carl and did a phenomenal job. But let's talk about you. Have you always worked in schools? If that's the case, was that your lifelong dream? I always ask people this question, like where you have 4 years old on the playground and said, "Oh, when I grow up, I want to be the director of this building," or when did you hit that realization? And then tell me a little bit about your district here.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be glad to. Gosh, when I was young, when I was in high school, my dream was to be an architect. Wanted to be an architect, and loved drafting. I love the creative side of it. I just didn't know as a young person probably exactly what that meant to be an architect, but did go to school. Went to the University of Kansas, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. And I did get my bachelor's in architecture. And so that's what my background was in. And I worked in architecture for a number of years out of school, worked for a couple of different firms and really enjoyed it. I got talked into at some point taking a job as an owner's rep, working for a school district. And that was over in Blue Valley School District on the Kansas side. And just really enjoyed being more thoroughly involved in projects. You know, as architects, a lot of times you're, I don't know, architecture just wasn't everything that I really thought it was. You know, didn't fit my passion as much as I thought it was going to. And so being able to live projects and be the driver of a project from its first thoughts to actually living with the buildings and learning from them years later after you've built them, just really got a lot of enjoyment out of that. So gosh, I was with Blue Valley for 9 years. I've been here in Lee Summit, now for 18 years. So I've got a pretty long experience with facilities management. So that's kind of my quick history and how I got into facility management. Lee Summit School District it's a great place to be for someone like me who really enjoys studying how the environment can influence education. Our administration here really cares about their school environments. They really care about maintaining and having high quality facilities, and it's a great fit for me, and I've really enjoyed it. We're a school district of approximately 18,000 students. We maintain about 35 buildings. Our facilities department, it's around 220 or so people between custodial and maintenance and supervisory staff. And so
that's a lot of square feet under roof.
Yeah, we've got about 2.5 million square feet of roof, about 3.5 million square feet of building, and never a dull moment.
Yeah,
always something going on.
There's a lot happening around here. Like driving around, I mean, there's something interesting about Missouri and Kansas when you're driving, because we got here Wednesday, Paul and I, because Paul is now trying to transplant to Missouri. Every time I go to Missouri, Paul has to come with me, and I'm grateful for it. And we were driving around, and he says, there's all this open space. And I said, wow, yeah, there is, because there is. Well, you guys got a lot of open space, but you're filling it. I mean, you're filling it with homes. It looks like there's a lot of activity, not just in the state of Missouri, but specifically here. There's a lot of building. It seems like there's more people moving into the state. Josh Schaefer on an earlier episode said that, they're adding 400 to 600 new students a year, their fastest growing district in the state. So yeah, it seems like it's kind of a high energy Kansas City area. You don't fall under the Kansas City.
I mean, I guess if you were to look at the census, we would be in the Kansas City metro area.
Okay.
Yeah, we're part of the metro.
You're all independent, but your police and your everything is independent. You have your own Lee Summit, everything.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Very cool. And you're also on the board for Missouri School Plant Managers Association.
Yeah, so that's I just love it. Missouri School Plant Managers is just a great group of people who are trying to help each other out and solve problems in buildings. And so I've been on the board for a number of years. Don't even remember. Was president for 3 years, and just by chance, kind of through pandemic and retirements, and they needed me to step in. But it's been a great group, and as you saw in our board meeting, earlier, just a lot of like-minded people that care about each other and care about their work.
You were the pandemic president.
I was the pandemic president. That's right. Oh man, we got a lot of questions.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, I don't envy that. Being a president of association, especially in operations, professional association, it's tough. Just being on the board is tough. It's work. You're volunteer. But during the pandemic, when everybody was looking for answers that were related to your space and cleanliness and being healthy and looking to you and not being able to get out with your peers and have to do everything virtually and all this stuff for your day job. Meanwhile, trying to provide information and data and all that. And just about everyone had an extended term. It was like, well, we want you to be, part of the annual conference that we're not having. So it looks like you got to be there for another year. But that's you hit the nail on the head when it comes to your organization and your board. And when you say like-minded people, what's really cool is you guys are bringing like-minded people in different aspects of thought and expertise, namely Amy and Luke, that are not directors of facilities. They're not in a school district, but they're supporting efforts to make school districts better that have needs from facility professionals. So really, really impressed with all of that. Thinking about, all of the things that are going on in Lee Summit, and I've seen the pride that you have. Like you were wrangling people up at lunchtime, and you're saying, "Hey, if you want to do a quick tour before class, I can walk you guys around." And Paul came down, he goes, "You should see the studio they have up there." And I go, and here I am. I commandeered this. If I only knew that they had this professional studio, I would have commandeered that.
I was thinking about that later. I know you got a recording studio.
Hey, I already told you next time. I got here, and you can't get rid of me now. Yeah. But are there any projects that are going on right now that you're really excited about? Are there any things down the pike that you're like interested in, or is there anything that's really kind of striking you as new, exciting? And I mean, we're in the innovation center, so innovative.
Well, I'll tell you what we're pushing now. I mean, I'm also on a local board for the Association for Learning Environments.
Yeah.
A4LE. It's an international group. We have a real strong chapter in Kansas City, and it's a good fit for me because it's a design related group, but they're talking about school environments. And so I have a good perspective on both sides of that. And so something that we are working on in Lee Summit is re-envisioning how educational environments can support students and staff, and have intentional ways of helping them feel like they belong in their buildings, that they have some choice in their buildings, that the buildings are really for them. And it's a bigger kind of a conceptual shift, but we have a high school project, our Lee Summit High, that we had an $80 million renovation addition. We have a new middle school we just opened this school year, and then also an elementary school that we renovated. And the design standards around which we built those were all about acknowledging that not every student learns in the same way, at the same time, in the same type of environment. And so we're just giving teachers and kids some choice. And it's really exciting to see how positive that change is for kids. And so
we have to pause for 1 second
looking for power,
because we're looking for power. We'll be right back. Well, crisis averted. You can see the background's a little bit different. I have been running podcasts all day, losing my voice, and I checked before we came on the podcast. It looked like I had plenty of juice left, and whatever happened, the battery drained. And needless to say, we found a power box, but it was at a different table, a different section of the room, and we're back. And you were talking about the opportunity to make a difference in the learning environments, the other organization that you're in. And I guess what I'm where does it for all of this that you're doing, you obviously have an immense passion in making an impact, making a difference. Where did that come from, specific to this? Because there's a huge difference. There's lots of people that just come to their job every day, right? There's people that just go through the motions. I sense with you, you're constantly thinking, you're constantly learning, you're constantly looking to share, to help people get better, but also for you to get better, right? Where do you know where that passion came from, or when it came in your life that you were like, I really love making a difference in my community, in my schools, and helping others in their schools?
I don't know. Where does that come from?
Yeah.
It's a blessing I get. I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
But I just care. And when I interview people and when I hire new people into our department, that's the quality I look for. It's just somebody who cares.
Yeah.
We can teach you anything.
Yeah.
But do you really care about the work you're doing and the reason why you're here?
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, it's just who I am. I like to learn.
Well, it's contagious. Like it's very much like we had that call when I had the indoor air quality question, and you just popped that out. I'm like, guys have done a ton of homework, and he's not just going to his job to get his paycheck. He obviously cares. You've put together the indoor air quality checklist, not just for you, but you've opened it up for every
Mhm.
school district in the state, and really any school district in the country, because all you got to do is go to the MSPMA.com website to get it. So I always try to find out, where did that passion, or where do you think that spark came from? For me, I try to think about my 27-year career, and when I talked to Josh Schaefer about it, I says, I took 5 years to graduate high school. When I left, I was like, I'm never going back. And now it's like, I can't wait to go to a school, to tour it, and to see the people and talk to people and see the difference that they're making, the impact they're making.
Right.
And I don't know if it's because I hope that it's a different impact than what I had, but then I look back and I go, well, my impact wasn't all that bad. I wasn't a good student. It didn't make the school bad, didn't make the environment bad. I just wasn't a good learner. I wasn't a plus. I was a solid D minus, F plus student for the most of my 5-year career.
Yeah.
But yet here I am, and now I'm like super passionate about it. And I don't want to say it was my kids, because I think I was passionate before that. But I think a big part of what I do now is to help my kids, to try to improve their lives. And the only way you can do that is by improving other lives, right? So I think about that stuff, and I don't have the answer myself. So that's why I ask. I look for other people so I can maybe plagiarize something, because it's one of those things. There's not a light bulb that goes off one day, but then all of a sudden you have a different pep in your step, or people start to look and they go, wow, that guy's they got a real passion for what they're doing.
Sometimes it is your upbringing, but that's not all of it. My mom's a retired teacher and had a real passion for engaging with kids. My dad is a smart guy and super caring about everything he does. And so, I definitely came from a place that models that. And, I've always enjoyed the, I guess maybe you call it the psychology behind, why does the space we're in really affect us? How does it make a difference in our lives? That's what architecture is.
Yeah.
And so, in education, they look at Maslow's hierarchy. Been around there forever. It was basic concepts. And so we know that, until you take the first 2 steps in Maslow's hierarchy, kids can't learn.
Yeah.
So the first steps, they got to feel safe in a building. That's our job in facilities, to help them feel safe as much as we can.
Yeah.
It can be very subjective, but we can be sensitive to that. The next step is they need to be comfortable. They've got to be comfortable, their environmental surroundings, whether it's HVAC, lighting, furniture, they got to be comfortable.
Yeah.
That's all of us. So you think education's about teachers? Well, teachers can't do their jobs. They can't teach kids until us facilities guys help them with those first 2 steps in that hierarchy. And so it's exciting when you think about it that way, that we're the foundational part of how educational systems work.
Yeah.
So
no, it's a good way to look at it. And I've said on most of the podcasts that I've done here today that this space is so inviting, from the curb appeal outside to when you walk in, the open air, the innovation lettering on the stairs, all the attention to detail. These slide outs, I want to see how these slide outs work next time I'm here, because it just looks really cool.
Yeah.
And how thick the glass is, like the thought process in the acoustics. Now there were 100 people in the room next to me all day, and very rarely did we have any cross noise. And I know that they were using a microphone at times, but it wasn't overpowering, where you go to a conference center and they get these these air walls, and they should be called air walls, because all it is just a little bit of something that's really not deadening a lot of the acoustic that comes from each of the breakout rooms.
No, you're right. Acoustics in this building are amazing.
Yeah.
Those recording studio and the instrument rooms we have in here, they're underneath our nursing suite. Really? So they can rock out in there. They blast music.
Yeah.
We've never had a complaint.
Wow.
Upstairs.
I'm checking that out next time I'm here. I'm getting the personal tour next go around.
Yeah.
No, this is great. I grabbed you. You've been running around. You've been an unbelievably gracious host for the last 2 days, and I can't thank you enough. And the honor to be a small part of the MSPMA organization's overall plan of delivering more value to the members professionally with these events. It's just it's been so great for me to just be a fly on the wall and a little piece of
Yeah.
the events that you guys put on. And I always say I hope to come back, but you guys don't have a choice. I just invite myself.
We want you back.
Yeah, so I just invite myself. But any parting words? We'll let you off the hook, and I got to catch a flight back to Boston where it's pushing 90 degrees. You guys are supposed to be warmer than us this time of year, and it's like it's a little bit cooler.
Got a
So
heat wave going
I got
on.
it. Yeah, we got a heat wave going on. It's going to go back down to the 50s and 60s and get normalized, hopefully, if there's such a thing. But I appreciate you making the time and all that you do, and all that you do for the board for all the state of Missouri, which I say this all the time. Other people are watching, other states, you had some folks from Kansas here, but other states are watching you guys because you are moving at such a rapid rate. And it's all because of the things that you provide for your members, the certification course, the professional development, the annual conference, the camaraderie and care. I'm sure you have a listserv. I've never even asked that question. I just assume there's some way that you guys are all communicating with one another. The regional chapter meetings, the relationship that you guys have with TIPS, with Charlie Martin, who was on the podcast, that those synergies all make everything work so much better. And looking out for the little ones, right? The goal every time I talk to Charlie is, hey, this is great. You guys are a great school district. Independence, St. Louis, St. Charles, all these, kind of bigger school districts, but there's only like 30 school districts in the state that have over 5,000 kids. The rest of them are small, rural schools. Many of them are one building. Many of them are the superintendent, is the business manager, is the facility director, is the transportation director, which might mean they drive the school bus, food service director, and IT manager. And you guys are doing everything that you can to help them out. And that's just very admirable and one of those great things.
Isn't it great? That's what's satisfying about being a part of an educational organization. We're not competing against each other.
Bingo.
We're trying to help each other.
Yep.
And that it's just a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love being a part of it. And it's been a great little mini conference here for a day and a half.
Yeah.
You've been a great part of that too, helping us facilitate.
Yeah.
So appreciate you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate you, my friend. Always a pleasure. And that's going to do it for wrap up our 5th or 6th episode in a row. We're going to launch these in order, and we're going to launch them out over time. But this has been really a phenomenal trip, a shot in the arm that I needed. We're coming into this final stretch of a new fiscal year. Budgets are being approved for schools, and also my public speaking and presenting keynotes has picked up quite a bit. So I was tired, and I'm tired physically, but mentally my brain is going a million miles an hour with all sorts of new ideas and exciting things to do. And stay tuned for some of that. But in the meantime, as always, we'd love your 5-star rating or review on the podcast platform of your choice. Those rating and reviews mean a lot. They help us get visibility. We want to get rated. If you follow us on LinkedIn, the faster we get to a critical number that we need to be at, we can start doing these podcasts actually live. So if you wanted to ask questions, you're going to be able to do that. And that's the next goal for us to get to. So in the meantime, keep doing the awesome work that you do. And we appreciate you giving us some of your time and listening to us. Have a great day.